Hey everyone, Sarah Barnes-Humphrey here of Let's Talk Supply Chain on site in Paris at Biz Now with Shippeo. Now you're going to want to stay tuned because we are sharing insights from the ground. We're going to talk about visibility today, how organizations are using visibility, plus visibility of the future. And of course, we can't talk about supply chain technology without mentioning AI. All of that is coming up, so stay tuned.
Yeah. Visibility is super important, but also super challenging to get it really up to the level that you can use it as an unlock for more steps.
Unlock so much more, which is really the key when it comes to supply chain technology and looking at the investment and how you can bring it into your supply chain organization, right?
Yeah, absolutely. A relatively unknown company, I guess, for many people, but it's one of the biggest dairy traders in the world. And our line of business is basically being the supply chain solution provider in the dairy industry.
So, Arnoud, I want to ask you, automated powered visibility function, how important is that to your supply chain organization? Do you have any use cases that you can share with me?
Yeah. Now, let's start with, it's, I think, the answer for the future. So if we are not staying ahead of the curve, and we're in constant cost pressure, we're in constant pressure to do things quicker, and the demands are rising everywhere, whether it's sustainability, whether it's customer demands, the bar is being raised. And I believe that visibility turning is the fundament to turn things into real action, move from reactive to proactive. And that's super important.
Absolutely. Well, and it's interesting because you talk about the pressure that supply chain leaders, supply chain teams are having in this particular moment.
Yeah.
Talk to me about that pressure, right?
Yeah, it's the pressures are, almost everywhere, right? It's I think the clearest one is actually the consumer. You and I, when we're at home, we expect everything to be completely transparent, completely visible. We order it now and we want it almost instantly. And I think that's quite a gap to the business-to-business reality that I'm living in my company. And that is a gap that we need to close.
So you just mentioned pressure.
Yeah.
Talk to me about that, because I feel like supply chain leaders, supply chain teams are feeling pressure from all sorts of different places within the organization, but also outside of the organization.
Yeah.
So talk to me about that.
Yeah, pressures are everywhere. Mm-hmm. And I think pressures are only increasing, starting with our day-to-day life. We as consumer, we expect everything immediately, instantly, whether it's our TV series, whether it's a product that we order and we want it actually same-day delivery. Mm-hmm. That's a mindset that brings certain expectations. Your outcome of an expectation is either disappointment or happiness.
Yeah.
And I think that in the business-to-business industry, we are too much lagging in terms of closing that gap compared to the consumer reality.
Well, and I think you're right, because the next generation that's coming into organizations are going to expect it. And they're going to wonder if you don't have it.
Exactly. and so it's, I mean, you see it with your kids, right? I mean, they are really spoiled from that perspective.
That's true.
When I was young, a long time ago, I ordered something. It would take a week easily.
I mean, at least.
At least, right? Without any visibility. And now you can see any step in the chain being done, and that sets a different expectation.
Yeah. Now let's talk about the other side of the coin when we're thinking about C-level.
Yeah.
Right? The C-suite.
Yeah.
Real-time visibility, I think, is coming into strategic planning when we think about the C-suite, the conversations that are happening at that level.
Yeah.
Talk to us about why that's so important.
Yeah, because we live in a volatile world. It's the pressures that we just talked about. It's cost pressure. It's sustainability pressure. It's raising the customer expectations are raising. Mm-hmm. There's a lot of pressures that we.
Now let's talk about the other side of the coin when we're thinking about C-level. right? The C-suite.
Yeah.
Real-time visibility, I think, is coming into strategic planning when we think about the C-suite, the conversations that are happening at that level.
Yeah.
Talk to us about why that's so important.
Yeah, because we live in a volatile world. It's the pressures that we just talked about. It's cost pressure. It's sustainability pressure. It's raising the customer expectations are raising.
Mm-hmm.
There's a lot of pressures that if you just look at it from a pure operational perspective, you're not really looking at it full circle, full end to end, because there's a trade-off to be made between, for example, cost on the one hand. It's easy to see what a truck is costing, but what are the costs of not having the right net promoter score, not having the right satisfaction at your customer, and how to balance that.
Yeah.
And that satisfaction, a large extent, is driven by managing the expectation.
Well, and it unlocks all sorts of possibilities. Arnoud, thank you so much for joining me here. I'm here with Jürgen. Welcome. Thank you so much for joining me.
Thank you.
You recently launched a visibility initiative. Can you talk to us about that? And what were some of the prerequisites to launching that initiative?
So we've been looking at visibility now since a couple of years and finally decided roughly a year, 1.5 years ago to really launch the initiative. We selected Shippeo as a partner, and we're now live in the first markets with container tracking, but also road tracking. And then I would say if there's one key prerequisite besides many, many others, it's probably around data discipline and data quality.
How do those two come together for adoption, but also the scalability of long-term visibility?
I think organization, or let's put it differently, people is the key for success. But it's also around organizational design and making clear how would you like to run and operate a business using visibility. But let's dive into that a bit. So I think it starts, first of all, that visibility doesn't keep itself running by itself. It is something you need to maintain. It's something you need to observe. You need to steer. You need to look at interfaces. You need to monitor. You need to manage carrier performance and enable teams to be able to react. So you need to design an organization where you have a clear place for that kind of job. So making sure everything runs, and if not, go in the right discussions and put the right lever to actually change that. The second part is everybody wants to take the benefits out of visibility, whether this being reduced penalties, complying with customer requirements, whatever it is. But visibility gives you the opportunity of being proactive. Now, coming into that, the most companies do not have that organization today. They don't have a team, they don't have a function actually picking up the ball and actually working with that. So I think within a visibility project, and especially then if your foundation is set and you can rely upon the data, latest then you need to have that organizational design in place with a clear organizational structure of who's going to run with the information, who's going to call customers, negotiate different appointments, and get out of the hook for penalties, for instance, and really work with those information and create a benefit out of it.
Yeah. And really what you're talking about is optimization, right? Efficiency within the team, organization within the supply chain team. Who's going to do what? We now have the data. We now have the confidence. We have the trust in the data. We now have the visibility. What's the long-term plan for the team? What does that look like? And you're right, people are at the core function of that.
Yeah. So I think there might be people out there thinking that autonomous supply chain will replace all the people. I don't necessarily believe that. It will change how people need to work.
Yes.
So I think it's a longer change journey, what you need to go on with your people internally, but also people externally, like your carriers, and really adopt them into a sustainable way of keeping attention on visibility, keeping attention on tracking rates, keeping attention on the collaboration with carriers, and not necessarily keeping everybody happy, but keeping everything running so that people long-term can rely and trust upon the data. And then also we can dive into some of the topics what was mentioned earlier, and the keynote speakers like AI, like advanced algorithms or advanced technology, advanced solutions upon it. But I think the foundation is really keeping it sustainably running in a good way.
Yeah, trust, confidence, bring procurement in early, and have those non-negotiable conversations early as well. Jürgen, thank you so much for joining me here at Biz Now.
Thank you.
I'm here with Bas. Welcome. Thanks so much for joining me today.
Thank you very much for inviting me.
Let's talk about what visibility looks like today. Like, why should B2B companies really strive for excellence when it comes to visibility initiatives?
Well, I think strategically a lot of companies are now looking at resilience and how they can build in resilience in their supply chains. I think two components are very important. One is the data quality and the other one is the advanced visibility. And of course, if you look at Shippeo, I think the platform and the RTTV is a very key part of the data quality. And I think we should try to, let's say, improve that data quality together to create better visibility, better tracking rates, and then use that data in the future also for AI, better reporting, data-driven decision-making, predictive forecasting and planning, and that will help all of us. If we are at home and we would receive a package, we would not accept, let's say, the quality level.
What do these steps look like? Because a lot of people are struggling with where to start.
Yeah.
Where do we go from there? What do we need to have as our foundation?
Yeah. So I think to improve the foundation, I think we should facilitate a brainstorm session with a few customers and start laying out, let's say, concrete steps on where we want to improve. I think we also need to facilitate a carrier session where we invite carriers from all different kind of markets, different sizes, to listen to them and see how we can help them improve also on the onboarding process, but also how they actually want to work with all of us and want to be on the Shippeo platform. Yeah, and I think that is the key here. And I think we should look at the onboarding process, of course, and the data sharing, create a platform where we as customers can share information as well. Maybe even put all the carriers in there and rank them maybe even on the quality and the participation that they give, so that we basically all improve and we all have the benefits out of that.
Yeah, I think you're right. I think it comes down to a feedback loop and everybody taking accountability to have a seat at the table.
Yes, exactly that.
Yeah.
And I think if we motivate each other and we work together and collaborate more than we do now, I think we can get to a much better goal than where we are now.
And I think also move a little bit faster than we have
exactly
been.
that, because even if we start with Shippeo, it's quite a lengthy process to come to the level that we are now. And I think we should be able to do that quicker and reach a better level. And that's how I think we should do that and what we should aim for.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, with things changing so quickly,
yes.
I think you're right.
Yes.
We have to get on board. We have to do things a little bit faster these days.
Yes.
And have better communication and learn from each other.
Yeah.
Bas,
yes.
Thank you so much for joining me here at Biz Now.
You're welcome. Thank you very much. And see you next year, hopefully.
I'm here with Frank. Welcome. How are you?
Thank you. Doing fine.
You're on a visibility journey. What does that currently look like now? What are your ambitions with visibility, and what are the root causes in between? Like from where you are today to where you want to be, you know, what's in between that?
Let's start with ambition, because I think that's always the best part. Yeah, to start with a clear goal in mind. Yeah. So in the end, if you look at logistics and the fact that I just shared on the complexity of logistics for us, it's really getting ahead of the ball. How do we manage exceptions? How do we better get into steering mode? And all of that, no surprise today, is mainly driven by data. And that's also, let's say, the opportunity that we want to address. That's also why visibility is an important topic for us, to really generate that data. And I think the theme of today also was around trustworthy data.
Yes.
So to really have data that we can also use to drive and steer and take decisions on.
Yeah, it has to be trustworthy, because when you're implementing a new technology, you have to gain the trust of your teams internally. And to be able to do that, they need to be confident in the data and trust the data that they are utilizing to make the decisions that they're going to senior leaders with.
Absolutely. And in addition to trustworthy is good, And at least for us as a German company, there's always a narrative of you want to make it perfect. So I think you also need to strike the balance between how much perfect is perfect enough or good enough to get started, to also not just stay waiting, but to really also tackle those opportunities. Yeah. But like what you said is perfectly right, and you need to keep in the back of your head. Yes.
Yeah. Understanding your success metrics. What does success look like to you? What does perfection look like? And how do we get there?
So maybe let's start with the next step, and then perfection is the one after that. Yeah. But what we started off with is really setting clear metrics in terms of how do we measure that. Yeah. Because it's nice to talk about direction, ambition. If we don't turn that into something that's measurable, it's also hard to tell did we achieve that. So for us, it really started with setting out clear KPIs in terms of for how many shipments do we have data available? How do we measure and judge that data quality? How do we make sure it's also in-time data that we receive in terms of latency? And there we set up clear KPIs to also track that throughout now implementation and go live.
Now, did you see any roadblocks within your implementation?
So there's always plenty of them. I think the good part is we knew some of them were coming and it was going to be a bumpy ride. So we also prepared for them. But just to assume it's a smooth ride, I think all of us have been in the game too long to make that expectation. So in terms of challenges that we have seen, or roadblocks as you called it, one topic is activating the teams, also in the ecosystem, because it's not something you can just drive as a company. You need your carriers, you need your partners, and even within your company, it's not something you can just drive from a supply chain perspective. You need also procurement involved, you need the IT colleagues. So really activating there within our own company, but also outside the network, and making sure everybody knows what you're aiming for.
I like that. So you've got some internal collaboration, external collaboration that can really help you get over some of those challenges and the roadblocks that you have experienced in implementation.
Absolutely. And I mean, coming back to what I initially said, in the end, setting up those targets and clearly communicating, everybody knows what the target is you're aiming for. You might argue a bit on what's the game plan, how do we achieve this? Do we turn left or right? Do we take a detour? But everybody knows where we need to end up. And I think that's important to work towards a common goal and also clearly communicate that.
Well, and that's where innovation happens, is within those discussions of how we're going to get there and not agreeing with everyone all the time.
And that's where the fun comes in. Different perspectives, different ideas. Also then to really argue and find out what's the best route and adapt accordingly.
So if the Amazon effect is not the destination, what value must business-to-business visibility deliver? What does that look like for you?
Yes, and thank you for bringing up the example, because I always say that I think most people in logistics are tired of being compared to Amazon and the experience that you have on the private side. The effect that we're really aiming for is to create that trustworthy data to move beyond, let's say, the imminent use of I can make this available to my customer, I can drive my operations more exception-based, but really say what's the next level of optimizing and meeting our ambitions there.
Well, thank you so much for sharing all your insights with us today, Frank. It's been a great pleasure to get to know you here at BizNow.
Thanks for having me.
All right, up next is Olivier from GEODIS, so stay tuned for that conversation. And tell us a little bit about GEODIS.
Yeah. GEODIS is really a very big French player in logistics and transportation, so capable to manage all types of transportation, warehousing activities, so multiple things all around the road. And within GEODIS, I have the chance to be the leader of this co-PL part, which is somehow the door opener, the guy who's assembling the solutions of GEODIS for our customers.
Great. Well, let's talk about visibility. So visibility is a word that we have been using in the industry for a very long time. It means different things to different people. And I want to talk about early visibility in transportation specifically. Yeah. What are some of the challenges you've encountered and how have you addressed them?
Yeah, that's a good question, because technically we often use visibility to track the last piece of the shipment. You know, customers are usually concentrated on the delivery for the customer because customer matters a lot. But in fact, we discovered, and we have a very specific case, we discovered that while the delivery is important, the pickup for this customer was extremely, extremely important. Right. In fact, this specific case, the business started in 2021 with a key customer, oil and gas, and it's really in the FTL transportation, European scope. And in fact, after a while, we started the activity rather well, I should say. But discussing with the team and many of the customers, we discovered that while the delivery was important for them, the key part was the inbound part. Meaning the pickup was extremely important because impacting directly their plants, the end organization, the site, and the use of their plant. And therefore, it was the beginning of a long story, in fact, concentrating not on delivery, but on the pickup of the goods for the specific customer. And in fact, what's important, and I won't go into all the details because it's a very long process, but what's important is not only we spend time to improve the quality of the data, which was key, but step by step, and I really consider this approach as key for us. Step by step, we use the different functionalities of the tool. It's allocated with the team members, discussing with the carriers, Shippeo, the customers, all together to find the right solutions.
Yeah.
Technically, we improved from 1 hour to 3 hours visibility before the pickup.
Wow.
Just honestly to be able to react, because 1 hour is too late. You know it's late and you cannot really react.
Yeah.
With the 3 hours, we've been able to really allocate differently the docks technically at the plants, and then to reallocate to other carriers and all these kind of things. So honestly, a really great improvement for the customer, for their people on site, and also for our teams.
Yeah.
Because when you face a delay when it's 1 hour before, you can inform the customer, which is great, but that's all what you can be. With this earlier visibility, we've been able to communicate to the customer, but also propose some ideas, switch some different loads, or all these kind of things which bring us and to us and the customer all this improvement.
Well, and it's being proactive instead of reactive. And coming from a logistics background, that delivery piece and the visibility and the delivery piece is very important, but you're right. We need visibility at time of pickup. We need visibility for everyone that is involved in that process.
Yeah. And in fact, I think we have to listen to the customer, even question the customer, because some are highly constrained by the delivery, because they have to deliver their customer, the final consumer, and that's then normal. I think we shouldn't start only by this image of let's do what I know, let's do what I did usually. Let's talk with the customer to really understand if this delivery is important or not. And in this case, it was, and it's still important, but much less than this pickup and the optimization of their plans.
Right. Olivier, thank you so much for joining us here at BizNow and sharing all of those great insights around optimization, data, visibility, priorities, being proactive. So many great takeaways that you have shared. So thanks for joining me.
Thank you. It was a pleasure, Sarah. Thank you.
I'm the Director of Supply Planning at Vita Coco. Vita Coco is a better-for-you beverage brand. We make coconut water. So I've been at the company for about 8 years.
Now at Vita Coco, you have a very unique supply chain. So talk to us about that.
Yeah, sure. So our supply chain is really about relationships. We have long-term relationships with our partners by building specialized infrastructure. We also have a broad global diversification. We're currently across 10 countries and 19 factories.
Wow.
So we really aim to build strong relationships with our partners by not only in investing in specialized equipment, but we also aim to build the communities around our factories as well.
So talk to us about enhanced visibility when it comes to inventory. What are some of the challenges that you have had?
Yeah, sure. So one of the issues that we had, I don't think is unique to a lot of companies, especially growing brands. And that is how you manage your data. Mm-hmm. So for us, one of the biggest, I don't want to say issues, but one of our biggest struggles was gathering all the data around where our inventory was. So we previously would have to gather that all manually. We would scrub the internet, look for those ETAs, try to find, any KPIs that we could, looking at how different carriers were performing on our shipping lanes, and piecemealing that all together across all of our relevant systems that we had. So it was a lengthy process, right? I personally have scrubbed thousands and thousands and thousands of lines in Excel files, searching for containers. When are they going to arrive? And then we then have to get that data into those systems. So that in itself was extremely challenging. It just created a lot of inconsistencies because when you're doing those manual things, right, it takes a while. Oh, you made a mistake, you have to go back, fix it, apply it across 2-3 different platforms. So we found as we grew, we just couldn't continue that process.
Yeah, I've been there. I've done that. My background being in logistics, I remember having to go on the websites, try to figure out where the containers are, and then update the system.
Yes.
I mean, I was coming from a logistics provider perspective. So we were doing that for our customers. And so I can only imagine with the number of containers that and shipments that you have going through your supply chain, how relieved you must be with the enhanced visibility. So talk to us about the benefits of that.
Yeah, sure. So, I mean, the biggest benefit for us is time. So we get all of that time back that the team was out there scrubbing. I mean, they did an amazing job. Our data quality was actually quite good. It just took a really long time.
Yeah.
So now with the help of Shippeo, all of that information is just free flowing into our supply planning optimizer, into our inventory management system, and our ERP. We know the data quality is good. We've been tracking along. It's really solid. And we now trust that information. Nobody's questioning it. We're not seeing different information in one system versus another that, causes confusion, where our planning optimizer is planning for a certain amount of inventory because they're expecting it to arrive in 1 month versus the inventory management system presenting that it's arriving in another month. So yeah, the fact that this is now all streamlined from one source of truth is a big breath of fresh air for us, not having to manage that. The team is now able to use that time in proactive problem solving. We're able to spot those issues before those problems really happen and focus our efforts there.
That's so exciting. And you used one of the words that I wanted to hear, which was trust. You have built the trust to trust the data, to trust the ETAs, to trust the information that's coming into your system and into the teams. And you validated all of that. And now the teams are able to make the right decisions.
Yeah, and we're definitely seeing that with improved KPIs. Our OTIF rates have gone up. And, the end goal is to keep those shelves full. And, we're seeing weeks at 99, 100% fulfillment. So yeah, everyone's happy.
That's so exciting. And I can tell that you are excited about it and you almost can have a sigh of relief.
Yes.
Right? I love that. Well, Rachel, thank you so much for joining me here at Biz Now and sharing some of the challenges and the benefits that you've had through enhanced visibility.
Yeah, thank you.
David, thank you for joining me today.
Privilege and a pleasure to be here, as always.
Great. Well, why don't you tell everybody who you are, what you do, and just a little bit about E2Open.
I'll start with E2Open. So we're a longtime partner of Shippeo, sponsor here at this event. Very much have their solutions integrated for visibility into our capability. I am in solution consulting, so I lead a team of globally operating experts at E2Open that look at our really complex multi-technology, multi-capability deals.
Amazing. Now, we're going to be talking a little bit about AI today. I mean, I don't think we can talk about supply chain visibility or supply chain technology without talking about AI.
You can't talk about anything these days without talking about AI. But yes, your point is well made.
Why is that? I mean, you lead a global team. Why is AI top of mind?
It's the money.
Everybody?
It's the money at the moment. It's just the hype. There's the capital. There's the investment. We'll get there. We'll make it work, right?
So then talk to me about what AI capabilities customers should be thinking about or really focusing on when it comes to supply chain visibility, because there's a lot of areas.
Right, and specifically in visibility and supply chain further, the nice thing is that the market has been sort of pulling apart and differentiating to really specific. Before it was just this magic buzzword of AI and it's going to solve everything. So on the one hand, what people should absolutely be...
Well, David, you shared some really great insights and I appreciate you for doing that. So thank you so much for joining me of Let's Talk Supply Chain at Biz Now with Shippeo and Jean-Baptiste. Thank you so much for joining me.
Thank you very much.
what you do, a little bit about your company.
My company, Groupe, is a leader on its market, I have to say. So that is to say car transportation, car deliveries between plants and dealerships, and also 9 deliveries for spare parts to dealers.
Oh, wow. Okay. So talk to me about visibility. What's the most pressing visibility challenge that's facing your drivers today?
Well, there is a huge gap, I have to say, between the expectations of our customer and our expectation and the tools available for our drivers. On top, you need to have in mind that we are in a context where we are missing about 550,000 drivers in Europe today. They are aging. And at the same time, we're asking more visibility with no proper tool to do it. Everyone comes with its own tool to cover ECMR, RTTV, damage reports, coming either from OEMs, either from CATs, either from transportation company. So when you work as a driver, you know that you need to provide more visibility, but at the same time, you don't have a proper tool to do it in a good way, simple way, and with the possibility to exchange seamlessly with all the customers.
Right. Well, and I think I always say that collaboration is the future of business. And I think what you're saying is that we really need collaboration, not only with the partners and the tools that we have, but amongst all those drivers.
We are, in CAT, we are managing every day 4,500 trucks, okay? Out of which 1,200 are owned by CAT, so operated by drivers who are part of CAT. The 3,000 remaining are from subcontractors, okay? But we have the same duty towards them to give them a tool in order to provide us the visibility and the traceability of where are the cars or the spare parts.
Well, and it's a big network. There's a lot of moving parts. There's a lot of drivers that need to understand what's happening outside of their little world within, the vehicle.
Yes. And I think it's important also to highlight this point is that visibility is just one part of their job.
Right.
Drivers in our industry are not just drivers who drive a truck from point A to point B. They need to be really skilled to load and unload cars on the trucks. They need to know all the procedures which are specific to the customers. I would say it's they need to be certified and trained throughout a lot of processes and be able to manage cars from Portugal to East Europe, Poland, Ukraine, UK, and Morocco.
Right. So talk to me about your collaboration with Shippeo. What does that mean for you as an organization? What does it mean for your drivers and your end customers?
Well, it's a very positive and pragmatic collaboration because we started the discussion by saying we need a simple tool. We need something simple to answer different needs that we can see now on the market. RTTV, ECMR, which is going to come more and more on our networks. Damage reporting, because we have unfortunately some damages on our cars, so we need to digitalize the damage reports. And we said, okay, today I have a tool in my truck. I have 2 cell phones for my drivers. So isn't it possible to work together in order to have one app? Which fits all the needs.
Yeah.
And as you said, being part of all the ecosystem and being part of able to communicate seamlessly with OEMs, dealers, everyone.
Yeah. Collaboration really is important. So what does visibility mean to you today? And what does visibility mean for you in the future? Like, what are your next steps when it comes to visibility?
Well, there is something that I didn't highlight at the start of a discussion in the interview is that in finished vehicle logistics, there is a huge gap and we are very far in terms of digitalization. When you buy a car at 50,000 euros, you don't have this information. You don't know that. You don't know that. No, you don't know that. Today, you know better where is a book at 20 euros than a car.
Right.
Which is
and
totally
we want
crazy.
Right.
And as a leader, we think that it is our duty to bring the market at the right level.
Yeah.
And to meet the expectations of everyone, I would say, regarding visibility and traceability. Also, of course, with the partnership of Shippeo.
Well, thank you so much for joining me here, Jean-Baptiste. We've got David from E2 Open coming up next. I'm here with JC. Welcome. How are you?
I'm glad. Thank you for having me, Sarah.
Great. Well, let's talk about real-time visibility and also just-in-time problem detection. What are some of the benefits for Toyota?
Actually, for us, the main benefit of just-in-time is that it shows and reveals the problems in our chain. And therefore, it might be counterintuitive, but we want to be exposed to problems. We want to see where is the next problems so we can fix it. And then we're going to be ahead of our competitors by doing so. So the spirit is where and how can we find problems? By putting just-in-time in our chains everywhere. There is no hiding. Any problem is immediately visible and has a long impact for everybody. Therefore, all up to the top management must be in. So I think that the main benefit is not so much of a tool, it's more a mindset. Where do we find problems for all the organizations to focus? That's what I would say.
Because the question I always ask leaders is what's keeping you up at night?
Yeah.
But really what you're saying is that you get sleep when you understand what the problems actually are.
Yeah. And actually we try, it's probably the other way around, is that we would like not to sleep at night. So we are creating our own lights, if you want to say, to keep awakened and be always on the ball. So, but really, we don't want to become complacent with our supply chain by hiding the problems. Are we successful everywhere? Are we in just-in-time everywhere? Not always. There are areas, long chains around the world where we are not in just-in-time. And the stock is hiding the problems and everybody feels asleep. So that's what we are fighting, and that's one of the missions we have here in terms of visibility to the topic. It's very tempting to say, I want digitalization to know what's going on your side and monitor you. Why would you do the effort, and why would you let the information fly if you have nothing to gain? So I think there is also a call for a partnership, which I know is a buzzword, but for us it means a lot at Toyota. It's how does this visibility actually push for more partnerships. So it's a difficult journey to your question, but it's a way to fuel more partnerships. More visibility will reveal more problems. Then problems will be, okay, we are together into it. How do we solve it together? And I think that's what we want to be the dynamic around it.
Now let's talk about the successful driving forces around digitalization projects for you at Toyota. Why are people and external partners considered part of that success?
I think it goes back to the almost to the roots and the values. Again, partnership is a bit of a buzzword. Everybody says partnership, yes. But when you ask, what do you mean partnerships? And for us, it's very simple. There's three definitions. Bad news first. Mutual trust, long-term vision. Bad news first means wherever there is a problem, let's talk about it immediately. You don't need to hide away from me because I would be bashing you if you have a problem. The other way around. Tell me about your problem. Vice versa, I'm going to tell you if I have something that goes wrong. Sarah, please help me out. So let's talk about the bad news and put the problem on the table. The second of mutual trust, again, it's kind of conceptual, but if we have a problem to solve and we spend 50% of our time fighting about how much it's going to cost, how many hours you're going to be into it for solving the problem, will you be paid or not? That's 50% of the time wasted for solving the problems. If we trust each other, we solve the problem, and afterwards we're going to fix the commercial and so on potentially. That's time saved. And that's what we try to do, is to say, trust me, I'll be there afterwards, I will not let you down, and I hope the same from you, so it's not philanthropy. And therefore, we do this in a spirit that anyway, we will get what is good for both sides. And then by doing so, we focus on the problems, our teams, our executives, everybody around the table. Later on, we look at the bill and the amount if necessary. That's fine, because that's one. And the long-term vision, it's something that is a bit of a frustration for me, I have to say. I've been now in supply chain, which is super interesting, but for 3 years. And the level of partnership, especially the long-term vision and mutual share of information, is very low. The logistic partners and the car makers, in my view, tend to be looking at 1 month, 3 months, 6 months away. Where is my bill? Where is my truck? Where's my box? We have very rare discussion, which we are starting to fuel 1 year, 3 years, 5 years. Carbon neutrality, people development, systems connected one another. What is it in it for you and for us? And therefore, we have to look long term. We cannot be looking at next quarter only. And I think the mindset is in a big contrast with, I've been in purchasing in the past in Toyota, and we have very long-term partnership with parts makers, raw material makers. In the world of logistics, we are still at the level 1, I would say, in our journey.
Yeah, there needs to be some more collaboration.
Yes.
There needs some more communication.
Correct.
And if anybody's going to come to you, they should come to you with the bad news first.
Yeah, correct. And I should be there to help also, because if they come with the bad news and I'm bashing them back, they will not come back the next time. They keep it quiet. So it has to be also a duty for the car makers, in the case of the automotive industry, is how do we treat our partners?
AC, thank you so much for joining me here at Biz Now.
Thank you so much for having me.
And with me right now is Rodion. Welcome. How are you?
I'm great. Thank you very much. Thanks for having me here. It's a great opportunity for SAP to participate during BizNow, this great event, and great news announcements we have seen today in the morning during the Shippeo keynote. But I would still emphasize on one thing. I think Anand said it very clear. AI is great, but it's still about the data quality. So bad quality coming into the agent, into AI, will produce bad outcome, bad results, bad decisions taken by AI. So still, to me, data quality is one of the essential points on the Shippeo side. And for sure, Shippeo AI, great thing to see. I think all the companies are moving into this direction. Great to see that Shippeo is doing also the same. I'm responsible for two areas within SAP Business Network within SAP Business Network. So two areas, SAP Business Network for asset collaboration and Business Network for logistics. Logistics is explicitly the topic we're discussing here today.
Amazing, amazing. Now, you have a partnership with Shippeo. So talk to us about that. Is it new? What does it look like? Can you tell us all the details?
So the partnership itself is not new. So we have already partners for many years. But what we greatly achieved this year, we moved to a completely different stage or level of partnership. So we have different partnership levels at SAP with our partners. And again, SAP to us is a super, super important critical partner because, and maybe I will just spend 30 seconds or a minute on this, why this is so essential to have this visibility data for us as SAP and our SAP customers. What we have inside, we have all the data SAP customers are generating inside their four walls, inside their company. We are having many, many different solutions in the area of production, logistics, human resources, financials. But what these companies also need, they need the information outside their four walls. So we need to make the marriage and bring these two informational sources together, the internal information and the information which is coming from the outside. And this is where Shippeo is greatly helping us to bring this together. In terms of your question, in terms of the partnership level, so what we did this year, we really brought Shippeo to a higher partner level. This is the highest partner level we have in terms of, again, still having SAP selling their products and Shippeo on Shippeo paper selling their data as a service. So this data as a service is a new product which was introduced, which is specifically helping SAP customers to get this marriage done, to get the information source from the outside ingested into SAP Business Network for our SAP internal solutions. Yeah, looking more into details. So as mentioned before, in the area which I'm representing, we talk about SAP Business Network for logistics. So this is the solution which is giving our customers the details in terms of tracking, tracing, visibility, ingested, powered by the fuel which is coming in from Shippeo via their data as a product. So the visibility data is coming into Business Network for logistics. But what we are doing we abbreviate it with BN4L. What we do in BN4L, we aggregate this data and create the universal source of information for all the other supply chain applications we have in our unit, in our suite.
So one source of truth.
Yes, exactly.
Awesome.
Thank you.
So stay tuned because up next is Pierre and Lucien from Shippeo.
Yeah, I'm Lucien. I'm one of the founders of the company for the last 10 plus years, and I'm CEO, so I'm managing everything related to our dear customers.
Great. Now let's talk about those last 10 years because you said this morning that the visibility pillars, there's three really important ones. They haven't changed over the last 10 years. What are they and why haven't they changed?
Yeah, we keep doing what we are doing and what our customers are asking us to do, which is really our bread and butter for the last 10 years, as you said. So first, we onboard carriers. Carrier onboarding is the vital necessity of our business. We need to get data flowing into our system, and our customers are still asking us, can you do it fast and can you do it efficiently? So that's the core of what we do. Once we have this data into our application, we need to have high data quality, which means that our customers want to have the highest possible tracking rate into the platform. That's absolutely necessary. We've talked a lot about data quality today in the implementation challenges. And last but not least, ETA reliability, which means that our customers, when they go on our platform, they want to be able to trust the data to make the right decision, to take the right action.
Yeah.
So that's the three fundamental core pillars of our business. It can seem simple to have an ETA. We have that in our everyday life for everything we do, but for supply chain manager, it's something completely new and completely unique because you have to realize that these people have to make millions of decisions on a weekly, on a yearly basis, and they do that without very much information. So the ETA helps them turn this complexity into confidence, and that's what we are looking for. Yeah.
Confidence and trust, and some of those are costly decisions. So having the right information and data is key.
Absolutely.
Thank you. So Pierre, why don't you tell everybody who you are and what you do?
Yeah, it's great meeting you. I'm Pierre, I'm the CEO and one of the co-founders of Shippeo. Super happy to be here today at Visibility Now. So I think we've discussed about what it makes to get a great project going. And we discussed three things today. We discussed first about data quality first and how you need to focus on quality and how it takes in terms of platform and quality first together. The second thing we've discussed is about the power of the community, how important it is to have a large network, but also to be able to engage stakeholders into how to get further together. And the last point is about being neutral. For us, it's very important to be neutral and to complement our partners and to really unlock value with our partners.
Yeah, and I really love the collaborative spirit. Now, somebody mentioned earlier magic when it comes to supply chain technology. Is there a technological magic wand to visibility or supply chain tech?
Yeah, I think the magic wand is our announcement today. So we're very happy to announce Shippeo AI today. It's a breakthrough innovation. And for us, it means bringing useful AI into the transportation field. What means useful AI and what do we want to do with Shippeo AI? It's about three things, let's say: streamline carrier onboarding, accelerate data quality, and to also enrich and more robust ETA prediction. So that's really the three key pillars we're working on, with much more later, but want to bring this magic wand on stage, I would say, thanks to AI. I said before, I think useful AI is about three key things. It's carrier onboarding. So imagine how to streamline carrier onboarding to make it more easy, more efficient, more faster. The second point is about data quality, how to have a ping if there is milestone missing, if there is critical shipments, we don't have any pings. This kind of stuff around data quality could be faster and more accurate. And the third point is about ETA, how to detect wrong pairings, wrong ETAs, and to make predictions more accurate. Those are the three things we consider around useful AI.
And I think what I'm hearing is that you are using AI to make a difference, right? And that's what the useful part means.
Yeah, I think AI is a tool, but it really can bring a lot of things when it comes to data discovery, understanding what's going on. And this is a new frontier that was not possible before. So we see that as a very interesting technology to bring value to all the transportation and supply chain professionals.
Well, I love the term useful AI, and congratulations on announcing Shippeo AI. Pierre, thank you so much for joining me.
Thank you, Sarah. Thanks for having us.
In the hot seat is Arnoud. Welcome. How are you?
I'm well, Sarah. Lovely to see you again.
So a lot of what I've been hearing are the words trust, confidence, data quality.
Yeah.
Talk to me about trust to begin with. Why is that so core to visibility?
So Shippeo's vision, mission, whatever you want to call it, is to empower the people in supply chain. So to put it mildly, supply chain is quite stormy these days, right? I mean, there's a storm. The calm in the storm, our thesis is the people in the supply chain. They are the ones who actually deal with issues so that the storm doesn't rage out of control.
Oh.
But the storm is always there. But then why wouldn't you want to be in a storm? It's fun, right? I mean,
that's what a supply chain.
Why would you and I be in supply chain otherwise, right? We love a bit of adventure, don't we? So we want to empower the people in supply chain so that they can be the calm in the storm, right? So now, how do you empower someone? You empower someone to go do something by implicitly telling them that there is trust here that you can do that. So the way we want to empower supply chain people is by telling them you can trust the information we'll give you so that you can answer the 1,000 questions that keep coming at you, right? I mean, so that's the way the trust is coming. Now, if you trust this, so we want to empower you. Empowerment happens because there is trust. And if you trust it, you're confident, which means that it's a positive spiral because the more you reinforce this, the more you're able to, guess what? Solve more questions. So you continue to remain calm no matter what the raging storm is about.
Yeah.
Trustworthy data, trustworthy information is key to empowering people in the supply chain.
Now, exciting stuff, because you just announced Shippeo AI.
Yes, yes.
So talk to us about why we should trust that.
So one thing that hasn't changed in Shippeo in the last 10 plus years of its existence and will never change in the future, all you have to do is take a look at my roadmaps and you'll see one line is always constant: data quality and predictions improvement. So this is an ongoing job. So we now feel that we have come to a place where we are not saying that we are done. We have high quality data forever. No, we're not saying that. We'll continue to work on it, but we are at a stage where we feel confident enough to say there is a great foundation of trustworthy data. So to us, that's the reason why we didn't jump on the bandwagon when everybody else wanted to, because we felt the foundation needs to be solid. We feel we are at a stage where we feel it is solid enough that we can now take the next step, because trustworthy data needs to transform into trustworthy automation. Going back to the people in the supply chain, them making decisions. If there's one, you can make a decision yourself. But if there are 10 at the same time, wouldn't it be great if at least 6 of them are repeatable patterns that somebody could take care of it? That's where Shippeo AI comes. Shippeo AI is going to help you answer questions about a specific topic that you're in, or you can zoom out and actually sit and work out what is my best lane and what is my strategy with my carriers going forward. How should I have a conversation with them instead of just throwing at them some OTIF numbers? You throw the OTIF numbers still, the black and white metrics, but then you augment it with information such as, but if you did this, it could improve. And that's where we felt we should evolve. We bring an evolution to what we provide to be able to do this.
So you really took a look at AI and figured out how you could make a difference.
Our CEO, Pierre, Khoury, in his keynote, used a wonderful word. He said, useful AI. So that was our mantra, that AI for the sake of AI is not interesting. That's why AI, we didn't want to put it as a cherry on the cake. We didn't want to put it as a shiny side object that, hey, because best AI on bad data will get you to the wrong conclusion really fast.
Yeah, gets you nowhere fast.
Really fast. So we didn't want to do that. So we wanted to make it useful, which meant that we said, we worked hard, talked to customers and said, really, where does it make sense? And conscious of the fact that the AI bubble everybody is in it now. So we wanted to really take our time and come up with useful data that actually makes a difference for the people in the supply chain. So we announced the release of some agents today. And as you would imagine, no points for guessing, but it is about data quality, right? So how can you improve data quality? How can you get to the root causes of what the data quality issue is? So therefore, if you are a carrier performance manager or a carrier person who wants to speak, you can use this to quickly get information to have a meaningful conversation with your carrier. If you are a inbound planner for your plant, now you can actually figure out what is going on and what to do about it. So there are certain things. And the most important thing is, this might sound like a simple agent called, we call it shipment scanner. What does it do? Ask a status of a shipment, it'll answer. Today, you don't need AI for that. Our platform can answer that in 5 seconds. But as long as you're on our platform. But the customer service agent, who has to give that information to the customer that they are talking to, who has no idea that it is Shippeo who's tracking them, is calling them every 10 minutes. Well, now the customer service agent, instead of having to field that question, can say, Sarah, here is an agent. It's in your WhatsApp. Take a look. And suddenly, the customer is empowered automatically. This is what we mean by empowering people in supply chain.
And thank you so much for joining me here at Biz Now. And that's a wrap here in Paris for Biz Now with Shippeo. Now, I hope you've taken away so many great insights from the conversations that we have had on site and shared with you online today. Now, one of the announcements made was that Shippeo AI has come out, and it's not necessarily about new technology. It's really about high quality data. It's about useful technology that's going to be making a difference. And I hope that you've been able to see that through the conversations that we've shared with you today. Now, I'm going to see you on the other side. My name is Sarah Barnes-Humphrey of Let's Talk Supply Chain.